Thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. You are taking a live look right now as we wait moments from now to hear from election officials who are going to be giving us an update on early voting and discussing tomorrow, the big day, Election Day, and the race to the White House. We have a number of local races on the ballots as well that we're tracking, and we're going to get into what you need to know before you head to the polls if you are voting on Election Day. Again, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger expected to speak moments from now. The big message that he has been pushing in all of these news conferences he's been holding is that the ballots are secure, that Georgia officials are doing everything they can to ensure a smooth election in the Peach State. And so far, the early voting turnout has been record-breaking. It has been a historic outcome for the state. More than 55% of Georgians have voted in this election already, and it is down to those that will show up on Election Day. I do believe they are doing some final mic checks, and we should be able to take you to that news conference. But all eyes on former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris as they push for your vote. Election officials taking the final steps today to make sure that you know your ballot is secure when you go to your polling location tomorrow. The Secretary of State, again, going to be speaking moments from now. We are expecting to hear from him and members of his staff. Atlanta News First reporter Sarah Hammond is at the state capitol with more on this.
The Secretary of State's office is telling people to have faith in the results no matter the outcome. If we take a look back at the 2020 presidential election, allegations of voter fraud were running rampant in Georgia, but they were proven to be untrue, according to Gabriel Sterling, Republican Chief Operating Officer for the Secretary of State's office. Both he and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger were among the Republicans pushing back against claims of fraud in 2020 when Georgia, where President Biden won, was at the center of a scheme to overthrow the election results. In 2024, Georgia election officials have touted extensive audits of voter rolls. Voting machines and scanners are not connected to the internet, so they can't be hacked, and poll watchers observing the process as it's happening. Raffensperger and Sterling say they anticipate people challenging the results once again, but Sterling has this message for those people.
People have to have faith in the outcomes, and for 200 and some odd years, we had to have the acceptance of the person who came in second or lost to say, you know what, I lost, I will come back again and fight in 2 years. The reason we have ballots is to avoid bullets. And if you say ballots don't matter anymore, there's only one logical direction to go, and that's not healthy in any democracy.
Later this morning, we're going to hear from Secretary of State Raffensperger ahead of Election Day, as well as Fulton County election officials on how they're preparing. From the state capitol, Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First.
So needless to say, it is an important week here in Metro Atlanta and Georgia, and we want to help you get prepared. So to help me with that is First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris with a look at your forecast.
All right, good morning to you, Maria. So we have a pretty active week here in Metro Atlanta, which is a change because for like 30 days, nothing happened. We were pretty much dry, not a lot going on, but that'll change this week. So you're taking a live look right now at Lake Lanier. That's on the right-hand side of your screen. What you see are clouds. We saw that on Sunday. Unfortunately, we're not going to see too much of a change in that pattern today. A lot more clouds out there today. Occasionally some pop-up showers too. It won't be much. You don't have to cancel your plans, but don't be surprised if you see a little drizzle, a little mist, some occasional showers out there across really all of North Georgia. So here's that hour-by-hour forecast. The other thing you'll notice about today, because of the clouds that are out there, our temperatures won't really warm up that much. We started in the upper 50s this morning when you got out the door to work, and we're only up to 62 at lunchtime. The warmest time of the day this time of year is around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock now, and so we will see those temperatures in the mid-60s around 3 o'clock. 66 degrees, that'll be the high temperature. By 6 o'clock, we're down to 63, so you get the idea. We basically stay in the low 60s. You're not going to feel that much of a difference in the temperatures the entire day today. And as you can see, the rain chance may get up to 30% at best. That's not much, but we do want you to know that within those clouds, occasionally some drizzle, a little sprinkle activity will be possible. And that's really the entire day today. So let's fast forward to Election Day because conditions will improve a little bit on Election Day. So we'll start Tuesday with clouds and maybe a shower or two around 7 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. But notice by Tuesday afternoon, we get some sunshine. So by lunch and after lunch, we'll call it partly cloudy. There is still the potential of a stray shower on Tuesday afternoon. So you should get out there and vote. It won't be a big deal, but we can't completely remove the rain chances. We just won't see the kind of dreary, gloomy conditions that we're seeing today. A lot more sun, warmer for Election Day, but still a shower or two will be possible. And that's the story for today and tomorrow. So that's what you see on your 7-day forecast. Clouds today, 30% chance of off and on showers. Your high 66 is what we're really going with. They just updated that L to 67, but basically mid-60s. For Election Day, as you can see, almost 10 degrees warmer in the afternoon. So you'll notice warmer temperatures if you're going to get out there and vote, and you'll obviously see more sunshine, 20% chance of a stray shower. Wednesday is a first alert weather day for a couple of reasons. One, we will see rain in Atlanta. We'll see our first measurable rain in Atlanta since September the 29th. So decided to alert you with that. There's also the potential for some heavy rain. We're not 100% sure that we'll actually get that heavy rain. Our models are kind of going back and forth on exactly how heavy the rain will be, but that potential is also there, and we want to make sure you know that right away. So what we'll do is we want you to circle Wednesday on your calendar. That's why we first alert that, so you know right out of the gate that you may have to deal with heavy rain. And if our forecast improves, we'll just keep you up to date on that. But right now, definitely circle Wednesday on your calendar. Our best chance of rain in Atlanta in quite some time. Right now, that coverage is at 60%. Because of that rain, temperatures will be slightly cooler on Wednesday afternoon in the low 70s. Thursday and Friday, not too much of a change in your forecast. We'll keep a slight chance of rain around with temperatures in the 70s. And then we have another front, a couple of things happening over the weekend. We have a front that's moving in Friday going into Saturday. Plus, we'll have moisture from what will eventually be Hurricane Rafael in the Gulf of Mexico, and that will combine to keep our rain chances around Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll point out that outside of Wednesday, where the rain chance is 60%, the rain chances aren't terribly high any other day throughout the week. So Wednesday's really the day that we're going to be super focused on. And here's a look at that forecast model. This is our model showing you what you can expect Wednesday afternoon going into Wednesday evening again. That is rain that's coming in from the south, so watch out for that. We'll certainly keep you up to date on how heavy that may be. Now we want to get you to election officials to get you up to date on what to expect here tomorrow.
It's not like we've had an election. This is just the day before. But coming here just to address a few things and take a few questions for all of you. I know that probably the eyes of the nation are probably on Georgia and probably 6 other states. But tomorrow, good American citizens, people like you and me, are going to be coming from all around the country. They're going to vote and decide who will represent us. But here in Georgia, your neighbors may vote one way, and you may vote for someone else. What we do know is that Governor Kemp, myself, our General Assembly, and tens of thousands of election workers have worked every day to defend every legal vote. In the next few days, you may see some extra drama from fringe activists. They are certainly dramatic, aren't they? Whatever they say or do, we know this to be true. Here in Georgia, it is easy to vote and hard to cheat. Our systems are secure, and our people are ready. Your local election officials will work around the clock tomorrow to ensure everything runs smoothly. If you're one of the 4 million voters who have voted early, congratulations. You have made history. But you've also dispelled Stacey Abrams' false narrative that it's hard to vote here in Georgia. That's 4 million votes, 4 million voters. This is what we have known this entire time. Georgia has short lines, secure elections, 4 million voters voted without issue. And that is something that we can be proud of as Georgians. If you haven't voted yet, I want you to go to My Voter page, the portal that we have at mvp.sos.ga.gov. If you just Google My Voter page, Georgia, it'll pop right up. And then you can look up your specific precinct. And that's important because tomorrow you have to vote in your precinct up until 5 p.m. tomorrow. All eyes are on Georgia once again. And just like our Georgia Bulldogs, go Dogs, that was a great comeback, wasn't it? You guys were, some of you doubted. I know you did. But anyway, when I was doubting, I just called Gabe. And Gabe said, we got it in the bag. So we did there, and we will have an elections. We're looking forward to the election tomorrow because this is the time that we've been waiting for. When it all comes together, where you, the voters, get to choose who your leaders will be up and down the ballot, from president, state rep, state senator, county commissioners, sheriffs, and local elections. So have fun, enjoy the process. And tomorrow, lines have to be shorter than 1 hour, and we will be tracking it. I don't know if we have any questions here. We certainly have lots of people. I see one right there. Are you talking about the RNC lawsuit in the Southern District? Right now, we'll just wait and let that work its way through the court system, but we'll follow the law, and that's what we always do.
Secretary, have you spoken to the GOP chair, Dr. McCooney, in the last couple of days? So, what are those conversations look like? Because it seems like there's a lot of distance, discontent, and concern in the Georgia Republican Party right now about how things are going.
Well, I haven't spoken to him, but if you're referring to, I guess, Fulton County specifically, what I will say is our policy has been we like to know what the rules are up front. We'd like to have people have consistency. And Gwinnett County was receiving absentee ballots. They had people at their offices, but they had made that decision back in July. And Fulton's was relatively late. And I think that's not really helpful because then people have to respond to that. And so I think it caught some people unawares. So I do think that having, notice and making sure it's always timely, I think is always better, particularly when we live in a polarized society.
Secretary, correctly, though, is it legal for ballots to be accepted at government sites after advance voting, after the argument was made in court? And I talked to the chairman yesterday, and his issue is also
Well, the judge has already ruled, and he said, yes, it was, and he quoted the code specifically in his ruling on Saturday morning. So to that. And as I've always said, notice is always good. That way people would be prepared, wouldn't have caught them unawares. Gwinnett did give notice back in July, and I think that was the appropriate course to do. When you don't give people notice, it just catches them unaware, and there's a mad scramble, and it's just a breeding ground for conspiracy theories. Well, that's all before the court, and I'll let the judges do what they do, and I'll let the lawyers do what they do. We always defend the law and always defend the Constitution. Well, I know in Georgia we're going to have a free, fair, and fast election. I'm really excited about our process because tomorrow night, all these people that have voted early, that's about 65% expected votes, will be reported 1 hour after the polls close. All the absentee ballots that have come in will have been ready for tabulation, and those will be reported. That's 70% that will be reported by 8 p.m., plus or minus, assuming polls all close at 7 in those counties. And that really will give you a great path of what you can expect for that day. What we've shown, we have photo ID for all forms of voting. I've done 2 citizenship checks. I've done an audit about 2 years ago, and I did one this past summer, proving that only American citizens are on the voter rolls. We found 20 Americans in this last audit. They were kicked off the voter rolls, and we sent that information to local DAs for prosecution. We have the cleanest voter list in the entire country. We have photo ID for all forms of voting. At the end of the day, it's going to be fair and fast and accurate. I can't control other people. I can control what we do, and we're going to do a great job. Thanks. Well, it depends who what you're out there. If you spend a lot of time on social media, you're going to get one opinion. But most people are out there today, right now, working their jobs, trying to put food on their table. Yes, sir. Well, I think when voters go to vote, first of all they're finding is that we started this in 2022, but the electronic poll pad check-in, people are getting checked in so quickly, so that was really moves the lines really quick. Lines have to be shorter than 1 hour on Election Day. I think that's really important also. And then so you're having just a lot of people moving through, they're enjoying the process because they don't have long lines, and so we get the results posted very quickly. As it relates to disinformation, there was something reported last week about person purported to be some Haitian. He had 2 driver's licenses. It was all made up, and it actually came from Russia. And so I think we as Americans, we just need to sit back sometimes and make sure that you're really hearing the truth, because there's a lot of bad people out there that want to just kind of get us fighting amongst ourselves. We know who they are. We know Russia, China, Iran. There's a list of them. It's a basket full, and they're just not really our friends. And if they can create us fighting amongst each other, then they feel like they've won. And so really please check it out, and that's why we got back that night and put it out. The next day, the federal authorities did confirm it came from Russia. Well, thank you very much. Pardon me? For tomorrow? Well, it's tough to say because we hopefully we have a really strong turnout. I checked the weather. There's no reason why voters can't show up, and so we should be well north of 1 million. Back in 2020, we still were coming through near the end of the pandemic, and we had about less than 800,000 show up. We were expecting about 1.1, so take it from there. But we'll see who shows up. But we just hopefully encourage everyone, if you want your voice heard and you haven't voted yet and you are registered, come out to vote. This is your opportunity. Thank you very much.
All right, and you just heard from the Secretary of State himself, Brad Raffensperger, holding a brief news conference to address election security. The big message is that your ballots are secure. He also remarked on early voter turnout. Obviously, very pleased with the numbers that Georgia saw leading up to the final day of early voting, which was November 1st. So now all eyes are on tomorrow as we look to Election Day. You have from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to go to your local polling location. Cast your ballot. It is so important. Georgia is a swing state, so there is not enough we can say to emphasize that your vote, your voice really matters. And to help me explain that and what to bring to your polling location is Chief Investigator Brendan Keefe.
Let's start the clock. Your vote counts, so let's count down the things you can't bring to the polls and the things you have to bring to vote. First, identification. It's required by law. But did you know it doesn't have to be a driver's license or a state ID? You can vote with a passport, any government ID, or even a student identification card from any public college or university in Georgia. Can I bring water or food for waiting in line? Yes, if it's for you and only you. It's now a crime in Georgia to offer food or water to people waiting to vote, but it's legal to feed and water yourself, though some libraries and other polling locations don't want food inside. Can you bring your kids or grandkids with you when you vote? Absolutely. Kids are welcome to come along to watch, and it's not a bad idea to teach them the importance of democracy by showing them how to vote. Counting down to the election, I'm Brendan Keefe. Atlanta News First investigates.
And again, it is down to two candidates for the White House, multiple candidates to the White House, but the eyes on this election is between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Both will be pushing for final votes in Georgia, as among other swing states, to get that 270 number they need with the Electoral College to secure their return to the White House. Again, this is a very consequential race, and a lot of local races also on the ballot. So do make sure that you are able to go to the Secretary of State's website, look at your sample ballot, look at your polling location, and bring your ID and all of the other things you'll need to be able to vote. Making sure that you are registered to vote before you show up at your polling location, as Chief Investigator Brendan Keefe mentioned. Also very important, little 5-minute task to do before you hit your polling location. All right, so there's been a massive push from both of these campaigns to get your vote, including from former President Donald Trump, who was here Sunday in Macon to rally his supporters. We will also hear more from both campaigns and both parties today, including musical appearances at a Harris Walz campaign rally in Atlanta. But before we get into that, I do want to give you a look at what happened this weekend with the Trump and Harris campaigns.
Well, as the election inches closer, both campaigns have their eye on the battleground state. Kamala Harris in town today hosting a rally in downtown Atlanta, and the Trump campaign hosting an event here in North Atlanta. An energized Kamala Harris back in Atlanta Saturday for a rally at the Atlanta Civic Center.
To fight for the ideals of our country and to fight to realize the promise of America. That's what this is about.
The star-studded guests and speaker list, a part of the campaign's 11th hour push to get voters to the polls.
And she's really working, and she's really coming down here to work with the people.
During the rally, Harris touted her campaign's promise to build back up the middle class.
The dignity of all people, that all people deserve that dignity, to be able to not just get by, but get ahead.
The Trump campaign also making a stop in Atlanta Saturday. The roundtable organized by Team Trump on Tour focused on women's issues.
And why women in this crowd tonight should get out and cast their ballots for President Trump, because he's going to make this country affordable and safe and strong again.
The event featured remarks from Laura Trump and other Team Trump surrogates.
I am voting for Donald J. Trump. So congrats to all the ladies in the room today.
And the final stretch to sway undecided voters.
And Democrat voters across the country who feel left behind by the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has been promising voters change for so many years, and look at where our country is today.
Now, Trump is scheduled to be back in Georgia tomorrow, where he's scheduled to host a rally in Macon. Reporting in Atlanta, Brittany Ford, Atlanta News First.
And as we continue our election coverage, I do want to now take you to Local News Live with a look at the closing arguments both campaigns are making to voters.
Broke it, Donald Trump will fix it.
People are making up their minds in the closing days of the race, and our message is that Vice President Harris wants to turn the page on the chaos and division of Donald Trump and take the country into a new way forward.
Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance will be in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, while Democratic VP candidate Tim Walz will be in Wisconsin and Michigan. And a judge in Georgia rejected an attempt by Republicans to block voters from dropping off their mail-in ballots in person to election offices in Fulton County over the weekend. Fulton County is a Democratic stronghold that includes most of the city of Atlanta and is home to 11% of the state's voters. The judge rejected an argument that voters should not be allowed to drop off ballots after early voting ended on Friday. The judge cited a state law that says absentee ballots can be collected until polls close on Election Day. You're watching Local News Live.